them as well. What a move from the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Well, after an exciting and exhilarating endurance round at Suzuka last time out, we welcome you along to a brand new venue for the World GT Championship. It's rounds 9 and 10, meeting 6 of the World GT Championship here at Misano. It's Paul Smith and Peter Mackay here for you on commentary today. And Peter, well, you missed an exciting endurance round at Suzuka, but this time you're back, 2 45-minute races at Misano, a new venue for the series.
Yeah, all new. It's going to be interesting to see who really conquers this Misano circuit. It's something that's very new to the iRacing platform. The circuit, of course, is familiar to many, but it's one that is as famous as it is on two wheels as it is on four. So let's see how the drivers get on. I
should actually have said Bordarbach to you after your time in Wales, but there is the the schedule, and we're reaching the halfway point of the season. After Misano, we are going to be then having a week off before Long Beach, Spa-Francorchamps, Le Mans, Barcelona, Road America and Daytona, rounding out the championship at the end of October, which should be an absolute thrill ride And it's one where the drivers are competing for championship points. And well, the Pro Championship, after the drop scores have been added, I can tell you that Alex Davidson has just got a 39-point lead after his crash at 130R last time out. Means that Jack Sedgwick, after an amazing race last week, gets himself second place ahead of Josh Thompson. James Boumet, Dennis Grabowski, Victor Wolfson, Ross McFarlane, Anders Meyer, Nathan Moore and Alex Gall round out your top 10. In Pro-Am, it's Michael Gray that currently leads that one. He's been away on jollies, but he's going to be fighting against Will Guthrie, one of his fellow Full Tilt compatriots. Just 21 points separate those two. Then a further 8 points behind is Jamie Rushworth for KRD, who led the Pro-Am Championship for the early stages, shared in that position by another Full Tilt driver of Paul Webster. Rhys Saunders is then ahead of Adam Watson, Richard Simner, Nick Kirstens, Phil Samways and Andy Shield, rounding out the top 10 in Pro-Am. In Am, it's 27 points that separate Jesse Payne Wilkins and Jonathan Walker, with Ben Altria in third place. Adam Hedgecock ahead of Ben Gregory, Simon Andre Livingston, Nathan Healy, Adam Locke, Ben Bennyworth and Mads Kelson round out the top 10 in Am. Then into your team standings. The pro teams, there's 10 of them, and it's 98 points separating the Altitude Esports by 3M and WSR Esports Bookkicker teams. WSR Esports are in third place ahead of Altitude Esports by SimStickers in fourth, Bayos SimSport KRD, Racing Lab Esports powered by Ford, Atomic Esports Evo, Racing Lab Esports and Prestanda Nomad round out the 10 pro teams. In your AM teams, it's Full Tilt Motorsport that currently lead that one by a huge 234 points over the Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge team. Then Full Tilt Competition ahead of Full Tilt Racing, DCW Racing, Atomic Esports, Boosted Motorsports, Quantumass Motorsport, Tech Sport Academy by AMS, and Writer Engineering Esports rounds out your 10 Pro-Am teams. Well, it's been a real mix, has this season so far. We've seen some brilliant racing, we've also seen some questionable things happen. I'm looking at you, Zandvoort. But these drivers now, brand new venue, there's plenty of runoff here, Peter, plenty of space around here. I find it extremely difficult for us to get a safety car around here.
You've said it now. I mean, this circuit really is everything Zandvoort isn't. It's flat, Zandvoort is not. There's lots of runoff, Zandvoort doesn't necessarily have that. So it should be a little bit easier on that side of things. They are both quite close to the seaside. That is one thing they have in common. But that's about where it stops. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a more friendly challenge for the drivers. Hopefully not such scorching track temperatures. The drivers, particularly in the Ferraris, will be very much hoping that they are not going to see high track temperature today.
One thing that we will see affecting these races today, of course, two 45-minute races with a spin of the wheel between the two races to determine the pole position for race 2. One thing that will get mentioned a lot is track limits. It's very easy to pick up track limits offences around here.
That's so true. Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest challenge today, actually, is not going over the incident point limit, because if you do, you will get a drive-through penalty. Obviously, this is one of the easiest circuits to end up getting that drive-through penalty.
It's a 50% fuel cell here, so you will see pit stops happen. And 17 incident points is the number that we will look at for if they will end up with drivers heading down pit road onto a drive-through penalty. We have got 37 drivers here today for you, so we will be able to bring you their grid because it's a full pace lap here. I don't need to rush, Peter, so I've got it nice and easy this week. Alex Davidson back to form in that WSR Esports Bookkicker Porsche. He's on pole position, but he's sharing that front row with James Boumet from the Altitude Esports by 3M in his Audi. Gabriel Erdelite, we missed him last week. He is back, and he is sharing the front row, the second row, should I say, with his teammate of Ross McFarlane. The third row of the grid is Michael Evdoka and Anders Meyer, who really seems to have got a handle of that Ford Mustang now. Row number 4, it's Dennis Grabowski, and then the first of our Pro-Ams, Adam Watson, the recovering Adam Watson, after being a little bit under the weather last week. He is back after winning Pro-Am last week's race. He's there on row number 4. Row 5 for Jack Sedgwick, the race winner last week, and Michael Gray. Victor Wolfson and Ethan Critchley round out the 6th row of the grid. Row number 7 for Jamie Rushworth and his teammate Jake Blackhall, with Paul Webster and Baker Zelenka then on row number 8. The 9th row, Will Guthrie and Leander Angelfelt. It's row number 10 for your top AM driver, Jonathan Walker, second place in the AM Championship, and he is the leader of AM in the grid positions. Alongside him is Jack Osborne on that 10th row of the grid. Nathan Moore and Andrew Fairley then share row number 11, with the 12th row, Jesse Payne Wilkins, the championship leader in AM, and Ben Altria. Row number 13 for Nick Kirstens, Ben Hackerson, who actually missed out last week. He is back here in his PS UK Esports car. Then it's Mads Kelton and Ben Gregory sharing the 14th row of the grid. Ben feeling a little bit under the weather currently. Tom Weston and Chris Chatterton rounding off the 15th row of the grid. Row number 16, Taylor Lane, and then a big name right there. Finished second last week. Josh Thompson in that Team Redline car, not able to get a lap time in, so he starts from row number 16. Row 17 for Andy Jones and Richard Simner, with Phil Samways and Ben Bennyworth. And one more driver, Simon Andre Livingston, rounding out your 37 car grid. I think if ever there was a track where you can make moves and make overtakes, Peter, this is one of those venues that we should see Josh Thompson on a hard charge through the field.
And isn't that a mouth-watering prospect to see him make moves through the pack in that Ferrari of his? But it'll be a tough run through. The further up he gets, the more fierce his competitors will be. It'll be really interested to see that and how far he can make it up through the field in this first 45-minute encounter.
This track, of course, is more known for the two-wheel variety of motorsport, but there's a plenty of GT series run around here as well. I believe it was the 24-hour series raced here this season, didn't they?
24-hour series were here, yes, for the first time I think ever. GT World Challenge comes a lot for it's very popular for things like Ferrari Challenge and Super Trofeo, etc. But yes, MotoGP, the home circuit of Valentino Rossi. Now, of course, a sports car racer himself. I remember going here in 2014 to watch the MotoGP race and seeing Rossi have his first win in many years at that point. And we did a track invasion and stood there with as the Italian anthem rung out. It's you look at it, if you walked into it, you say this place isn't that interesting, but it's the stories behind it. It's the things that have happened here that make it special.
I've actually seen European truck racing here as well, and I've seen an on-board lap with the safety truck which does not have the limiters on, and going around that back section that we're just going through now into the braking zone, it scared the passenger that I saw the on-board lap with. The passenger was like, brake, no, when you're braking, brake. Which you can imagine in a big racing truck that's got no speed limiter on it can be a little bit petrifying.
There's a lot of inertia there.
Yes, that is for sure. Right, pace car will go to driver's left right now. There you go. And it's now under the control of Alex Davidson. And when he chooses to get on the loud pedal, it is round number 9, meeting 6 of the World GT Championship. And away we go with Green Flag Racing. 45 minutes of action here on RaceSpotTV into turn number 1. And this could be a real pinch point through here. You can have a few incidents with the way that the track goes back and forth, right, left, right again. And not a great start for James Boumet, losing a position right at the very start of this race. Dennis Grabowski making a move and Anders Meyer in that Mustang. But that Mustang was much improved last week at Suzuka, so I should expect to see him doing pretty well here as we stay green flag racing. There has been an instant further back, but it's not blocking the track.
So through they go then. Not a great start for James Boumet, as you said, Paul. Just got caught napping off the line, and Gabriel Erderlei in the Porsche just nicked past him into turn one. A real freebie there for WSR Esports. So they lead 1-2 now with their Porsches at the front of the field. That is not what Boumet wants to see, because he's got big problems as well with Ross McFarlane right in behind him. So he is surrounded. But there's 4 WSR Esports Porsches in the top 5.
Oh, this is a real high speed and high risk part of the track to be able to go side by side with. And Adam Watts, oh, there's a car going off there. That's Bacon Solenka. It is in his Altitude Esports by SimSticker's car. And well, he's fortunate. There's a lot of space there for you to cut across the inside. He will get a slow down penalty from that, but my goodness, it's better than having any sort of damage to your car. Jake Blackhall now facing the wrong way at the start of the race. And I can tell you, Peter, there's 3 drivers with mechanical meatball warning flags. Richard Simner, Taylor Lane, careful there, and Josh Thompson has a mechanical meatball warning flag.
Oh dear, not good then for Josh Thompson. We were expecting a charge through the field. There he goes up the inside, and just as we came through the shot there, Jesse Payne Wilkins gets turned around, and oh, it's all arms and elbows, cars everywhere. But just there goes Thompson, just in the back of the shot. I'm sure we'll get a replay of him in a moment. Nick Kirsten's in the Ferrari getting moved around, but Josh Thompson there just in the back of the shot was just diving up the inside, and I wonder if that's maybe where he got his damage. There he is, there you go, there it is. Yeah, he tried to take a lot of people at once. There just wasn't quite the room, and pinched in, and that was it. He's kind of knocked every panel on it through that secret corner.
The Ferrari spares truck will be seeing a lot of business there. Phil Samways, who started at the back of the field, he's had to snake his way through. Now here's what happened. Jake Blackhall, oh, just the slightest of touches from that full tilt car that was behind him. Around he goes, and it's really tricky because it is a blind corner through there. You can't just suddenly hit reverse and come back across track.
No, it's tricky round at that final corner. Fastest lap of the race, straight out the gate then for your race leader, Alex Davidson, trying to recover from a crash at 130R at Suzuka last time out, but he's putting that behind him in the best possible way here, leading his teammate by 0.6 of a second at the moment. Boumet settled in there in third with McFarlane right in behind him. McFarlane's playing a different role this season. He doesn't look like he's going to be able to run the entire season, so he's not necessarily a championship contender. So this is going to be interesting, I think, Paul, to see what Ross McFarlane we see this season, because we're so used to him being playing the canny game and winning championships, 4 of them to be exact. But this is a different prospect for Ross this season.
And I think that this is Alex Davidson's season. I really do.
Yeah,
with how he started the season, although he did make, like we say, his car ended up in the wall at 130R last week. The week before, he was spinning around on slick tyres into wetter conditions when he took a risk, which, in hindsight, he'll look back at that and think, at Zandvoort, and think, I should have pitted earlier than that and played the percentages, because he did have such a big lead in that race.
Yeah, it's so easy in hindsight to look at, oh, we should have taken this tyre, we should have pitted at this point. It's so difficult though in the heat of the moment. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong, and nobody's ever got it right 100% of the time. So it's in fact it's actually quite rare to get it spot on, and you often do see an outlier or two who get it right and they go through and win the race. So it's it's frustrating, but that's why these changeable condition races are so tricky.
Well, we're not expecting any rain in this first race, that we can tell you for certain. We're on board with Michael Gray, the Pro-Am Championship leader, coming into this week's action, and he's only 2 spots behind the Pro-Am race leader of Adam Watson, who, I think it's fair to say, his title defence, it's not been the cleanest, shall we say.
No, not yet. Yeah, but things could change. See how it goes for the rest of the year. But at the moment, Adam Watson sitting in the top 10 and overall leading Pro-Am. That's a great run so far for Adam. The 291 machine. Still not quite as comfortable with the Audi as he was with the Porsche the last couple of seasons, though.
Yeah, I was having a quick chat with Adam the other day, and he has said he wasn't feeling as good in this car as he does in the Porsche. So I think he was maybe thinking, yes, we're able to share setups this way, as running the Audi, but if it doesn't suit your style of driving, then it can bite you really bad, as numerous drivers have found out with that Audi over the years. Although it's calmed down a little bit with the Evo version that we have now on iRacing compared to the original one.
The thing is, though, if you go and smooth out and blunt the teeth of a saber-toothed tiger, it's still a saber-toothed tiger at the end of the day. It's still going to eat you.
Yes. And you see, that's with analogies like that, Peter. Where would we be without you? I mean, how many saber-toothed tigers do you see? None. They went extinct for a reason, but I wouldn't go playing with a lion or a tiger. That's for sure.
No. Okay, just your generic bog standard Ford Mondeo Tiger. If you were to put say like socks on its teeth, it's still a tiger. It's still going to eat you.
Well, it's a cat, so it'll play with you first before it eats you.
No, I think it's going to be.
Cats generally play with the food to start with, don't they, before they eat it?
Yeah, which makes it even less pleasant for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's worse.
Yeah. But then that would mean that the Audi can't be a lion then, or tiger, because it doesn't really give you much warning before it eats you.
That's true. There we go.
Put your answers on a postcard of what dangerous animal the Audi RA LMS GT3 Evo 2 is.
Forget a postcard, get it in the YouTube chat.
That's a modern day version of a postcard.
By the way,
I've put it on the TikTok.
But I don't do the TikTok.
No, I don't do the TikTok either.
I mean, nobody wants to see me.
Although we are literally the opposite of RaceSpotTV's youth policy. I'll go back to the race in a second. But when I started playing rugby union, I was the entirety of the youth policy for the team that I played for. There was a clear 10 years difference between my age and the next youngest player. Anyway, we have, by the way, with me declaring Alex Davidson a champion, or saying that it's his year, Stephen Michaels in the chat saying that James Boumé or Dennis Grabowski, two of the best altitude esports drivers in their paddock. Something tells me that that's somebody associated with altitude esports. Could be. Could be. Or just a big fan.
Yeah, could be.
Or they live at the top of very, very tall hill.
This is live, isn't it? Yes. Right. So Victor Wolfson. He's in 11th place. He's shown some really good pace in the season and some really good racing, but then he's had some races where he just isn't in and around that top 10. He's not in that top 10 to be able to challenge for a pro championship. It's one of those inconsistent drivers, I feel, who could be either really, really good, really quick, or just not be on the game.
let's see. I mean, I think over the course of the season, you never know. He could be a factor. He's had some good performances so far this year. So let's see.
Adapted himself well to the championship, considering he's new to the championship.
Definitely.
And he did get introduced to Adam Watson, of course, at Jerez.
That's very much a rite of passage, I feel, in the World GT Championship.
As they go through turn 12 into 13 and then 14, really tight hairpin. This last sector of the lap, it just feels a little clumsy to me when I drive it. And then this final corner, I will say, because it is cambered in your favour through the final corner, it's so satisfying to just throw the car in, launch it through the corner and carry the speed out the corner down the start and finish straight. Turns 1, 2 and 3, I was surprised that we didn't have the mother of all accidents through there at the start of the race, because that's usually the case in real world racing.
Usually it is, yeah, normally so. Well, the gap at the very start of the race was Davidson 6/10 ahead of his teammate Gabriel Ardella, and it's well about exactly the same. Very much managed well at the front of the field in the WSR esports camp. They do have a pit stop to negotiate, of course. That pit window is going to be opening up in the next 4 or 5 minutes. We usually don't see the drivers pit straight away. They normally run the tank out and then take a splash and dash to the end. But at the moment, looking very, very good for WSR esports Porsche.
They have got that car dialed up. We saw that in the first 3 or 4 rounds, didn't we, where the car was really dialed up for the start of a race, but in the longer races it just seemed to lose that pace through the length of the race. Now, is that because, is part of that because of the balance changing, because the fuel tank is in the front of the car, so as you're using up that fuel, the balance of the car moves rearward in where the weight is? Is that something potentially?
It does, yeah. That's very much a Porsche characteristic. I mean, it's not something with the road car. It's not such a concern anymore. The car is, because the car is, modern day 911, the 992 generation is much heavier than, say, a 993 of the mid 90s. You don't need to worry too much about the fuel being in it. But interestingly, I spoke to a guy who had a 993, and he'd been advised that to actually never really run the tank out fully, actually only ever run it to about a quarter full, because if it really did make it more rear tail happy, and on an older 911 that you definitely notice it more. But nowadays it's not as bad. But for the racing car, where it's a lot more, should we say, finessed and a lot more sensitive, yes, you will definitely notice it.
Yeah, and that's where maybe then the Audi comes into its own and starts showing its pace. As we're going through, I could tell you that Gabriel Erdely's 5-lap average is actually quicker than his teammate Alex Davidson in front of him, so that slipstream is obviously helping him. And you know what? He'll be getting a lot of fuel saving through that as well, Gabriel, and he'll be delighted to do that, because he might be able to jump his teammate in the pit stop phase. Ross McFarlane, he's just sort of dropping back a little bit from James Boumet right now, so Ross is not feeling it very well. Looking further back, Will Guthrie and Paul Webster together. This is for 4th and 5th in the Pro-Am class, and those two working their way through the first section of the track. So far so good in terms of people getting slow down penalties and things like that. They're seeming to be avoiding them. We have got an early pit stopper though, Peter. Andy Jones has decided to take a pit stop now in his Lamborghini. If you're in that mid-pack, it's a roll of the dice to get yourself some clear air, isn't it, to try and get some fast laps?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, just if you feel like you're not running the pace that you should do, and you're not seeing a big benefit in the on the fuel usage, yeah, you kind of have to roll the dice a little bit and try and get out of that you know, kind of rolling roadblock, really. Your ideal thing is you want to be behind somebody who's about a couple of tenths quicker than you, and you hang on to their coattails and you get dragged along. That's the absolutely ideal situation, but doesn't always quite work out like that.
We've got the big lumbering Mustang versus the nimble Ferrari 296 in front of it, the Porsche 911 GT3R behind it. Behind them, the Audi R8, LMS, GT3, whatever acronyms you want to add after Evo, of course, it's an Evo as well as that Audi. So 4 different manufacturers here, all going about things differently. That big front-engined Ford Mustang though, long wheelbase, through these sections where you've got these switchbacks, I feel it's going to be losing out compared to the Porsche, the Ferrari and the Audi.
Yeah, I think in those technical sections, definitely it's going to be at a big disadvantage. Torque out of the slow corners though, yes please. Plenty of that, plenty of grunt from the Coyote V8. The wily Coyote, or more the whining Coyote, I suppose you could say.
And it's Ethan Critchley, Adam Watson behind. Victor Wolfson is now catching up to the back of them, which means that Michael Gray is coming up to the back of them as well. So we've got a 5-car, call it 6-car just train with Jack Sedgwick moving clear, and he's trying to pull away as Jack right now in all of this. But if you're Adam Watson, you look in your head and you're thinking, am I quicker than these guys in front? But maybe not. I'll sit here, get my fuel saving done. But then he looks behind and goes, oh, there's a Victor Wolfson there. We've come to blows in the past. Do either of us hold a grudge?
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out if that is the case. What is surprising me though, Paul, is that there's not too much kind of forging forward and big moves forward. There's a lot of kind of running in order here, really. Maybe fuel numbers are what the drivers are looking at, or they just don't feel like there isn't big overtaking opportunities. Hard to say.
I mean, when you think you've got this big braking zone into turns 4, 5 and 6, you've got a decent braking zone into turn 8, which is at the end of this straight here, and then you've got all the way down the back section through 11, 12 into 13 and 14 where you can make some moves. Speaking of making moves, there goes Ethan Critchley down the inside of Anders Meyer, but Meyer gets on the power earlier around that outside line, and that Mustang stays ahead for now. But look at that, to the inside, Ethan Critchley. God, if that is a karting move, that's one right there from Ethan Critchley. The switch back to the inside, taking advantage of that better line, and Anders Meyer is going to try and hold this around the outside, and here comes Adam Watson in all of this.
I think the last time I opened my microphone I said everyone was running in order. It's like they've every single one of their spotters got on the radio saying Mackay's talking nonsense again, time to prove him wrong. Go and do some overtaking. Oh right, yes, certainly, let's do it. Fantastic stuff. So Critchley then leads this little bunch in 8th over Anders Meyer. Adam Watson in there, your Pro-Am leader, but Michael Gray not too far behind in the Audi. So yes, the Audi might be a handful, but it's a quick car, obviously, and certainly in the Pro-Am category it's proving to be good. Oh, Wolfson sticks his snout up the inside there, but gives Watson a little wiggle, but they both get away with it.
But yeah, they do get away with it, but Wolfson, I think he can sniff an opportunity, and I think that Watson and Wolfson are probably thinking, I'm quicker than Anders in front of me here. That Mustang, it qualified really well, did Anders Meyer in 6th place, but has just dropped back throughout this race here so far. And I just get the feeling that Adam Watson will be looking at that Mustang and thinking, I need to make my way past here and keep with Ethan Critchley. There's a move to the inside. Late move from Adam Watson. And again, it's all about the power out the corner. And this time, I do think that Meyer in that Mustang just got on the power a little bit earlier and carries the speed.
Well, Mustang gallops down the back straight there through this really fast section of right-handers where you're absolutely torturing the tyre, and this is where the Mustang will be at a disadvantage now. We're coming into very much Audi country rather than Mustang country, because the Mustang being a big front engine machine, it puts so much stress through the front tyre there, whereas Audi is a little bit more balanced. So that front, particularly front left there in that final section, will take an absolute pounding through there.
You mentioned about the temperature. It's not too bad out there for the drivers. 34 degrees Celsius track temperature. So it's not too bad, it's not too hot, but we are in the morning, just after 11:15 in the morning in Sim. So it's just going to keep on getting warmer, is this track. And again, Watson sneaking around, just looking, and clear blue skies. That'll be helping bake this track. It'll be interesting to see what it goes from race number 2 of the evening, round 10, when we have that come up in a little bit later time, around about 9 o'clock this evening. So do stick around for that one, because it should be a cracker with a reverse grid. And then into the braking zone again. This is where we saw Ethan Critchley make the move on Anders Meyer, but no. Watson goes a little deep there, and that gives Wolfson the sniffer of an opportunity.
So 23 minutes to go, and approaching the halfway point of this race, and well in the fuel window. If you want to make a stop, you can, if you feel like you're being held up. As Jamie Russell's going to try to go around the outside, surely not around there. In fact, he runs quite wide, but he's still toughing it out. Oh, all 4 wheels off the track. That'll be a track limits incident point. Can you run that wide and get away with a slowdown?
No.
Though?
Oh, you can get away with that slowdown, but if you go all 4 wheels onto the green painted surface, that is an off track.
And that would have definitely counted for an off track, that's for sure.
Absolutely for sure. But yeah, we'll go through it. He's on a little bit of a move, I will say, up 4 places as well from where he started, 17th to 13th. As we come back to the eternal struggle, and that is Adam Watson trying to get past the Mustang in front of him. 2 sets of manufacturers with a horse on their badge. We've got a Raging Bull with a Lamborghini. So a real animal-themed grid here this year in the World GT Championship this season.
There is. There's a dancing horse on the Porsche badge.
Porsche,
as well.
yes, of course, yeah. Three horses.
Well, 4 if we've got any Lamborghinis. Oh no, that's a bull.
That's a bull, yeah.
Yes, 4-legged animal.
We need a whippet. We need a Yorkshire whippet car.
Oh well, they could put. That could be the new Ginetta badge.
Oh yes, yeah. Get a whippet. It's either a whippet or a ferret. It's one of the two.
Whippet. And whippets are rapid as well. That's a great badge for Yorkshire car front.
Whippet racing.
Racing.
Mandatory safety flat cap for the pit crew.
Exactly. All flat cap. Only Yorkshire tea in a big urn of Yorkshire tea in the. Are we just talking about United Autosports?
We could well be, yeah. Or Manor. Manor are from Yorkshire.
Well, yeah. It's we're a Temu version of United Autosports.
When you go to wish.com and you end up with Peter Mackay and Paul Smith.
Yes. I thought we were getting Murray Walker and James Hunt.
Well, Anders Meyer has pulled away because Adam Watson has been busy looking in his mirrors at Victor Wolfson here, so we've got a bit of separation now. And Michael Gray must be watching this thinking, well, I can do some more fuel saving and try and get the jump that way. Although, with it being a 50% fuel cell for this race, it won't be the longest stop at the pump, will it?
No, it won't. It will be a very quick grab your club card points and go. In fact, if you're really in a rush, you don't bother with the club card points.
It used to be SO vouchers back in the day.
Yeah, put a tiger in your tank.
Yeah,
And then you got an actual
the
tiger.
tiger vouchers, yeah.
Yeah, and then my mum had one of those tigers in her car.
Well, it wasn't so much the tigers; it was the carriage clock that looked like it just come from an over 50s plan that you could get from SO as well for free if you had enough of them. Other fuel suppliers are available.
Well, in Shell, I remember in Shell you used to collect the coupons to get the Ferrari key rings. I had an F430 Spider keyring on my Renault Clio key fob.
Yes.
I bet you my Renault Clio was louder than a Ferrari F430 because I had an exhaust the size of a dustbin on it.
Oh, you were one of them, were you, Pete?
Oh, total chaff. Yeah. Tinted windows, speakers in the parcel shelf.
Massive subwoofer with a 6 CD interchanger.
That's it. Yeah, all of that.
Well, Victor Wolfson's given us a great view because actually Anders Myers caught back up to Ethan Critchley in all of this, so we're getting a great view. Apart from the position panel on the windscreen, I will say that's an unfortunate placement for us right now through right-handers, which is unfortunate around this track because the majority of the corners are right-handers around here. As we go through, once again, Adam Watson then in his Audi. What's he doing? He's just loitering with intent, but Anders Meyer has picked up the pace this last lap or two.
He has, yes, that he has. That he has. He's looking very menacing there behind Ethan Critchley. Oh, first pitter of the leaders, Dennis Grabowski's going to try and roll the dice here. As he comes in, as does Michael Gray from second in Pro-Am.
Yes, so here we go. First of the pit stops then. We reckon that we should get these till about, I don't know, about the next 2-3 laps perhaps for pit stops. Don't expect to see anybody taking any tyres, or if they do, they might just take like one tyre or two, depending on how much fuel they're putting in. Grabowski 12.7 seconds. There was some tyre smoke then, but that car does seem to have taken a tour back to pit road by the looks of things. It was Andy Jones. But yeah, 12.7 seconds for Gray, for Grabowski, 12.9 for Gray. So we'll look at around about that 13-second mark for fuel and for maybe two tyres.
Yeah, two, or even if you're just wanting to be quick, you can just pop one on. I think for the front engine cars, definitely the front left, I think is essential because it's just going to be absolutely torture.
I've got some bad news. Paul Webster has been caught out by the pit exit here, and he's got a black flag on pit exit.
No.
It is a tricky one, is this pit exit. I will say it is a strange one, as Davidson and Erdelay both pit at the same time, along with Ross McFarlane and Michael Avdoka. It's a WSR Esports pit party, and Jack Sedgwick has gone, oh, I want a piece of the fun as well. Yeah,
he's crashed the party, hasn't he? As up on the chat school, both WSR all three of WSR Esports, all four WSR Esports Porsches, all go in to get tyres. They stay up on the jacks for enough, I would say, to put two tyres on, I would say.
Yeah. I think Erdelay, I do think that Erdelay did not quite get into the pit box correctly initially.
Erdelay's gone by though.
Yeah, he's got by him, so Erdelay is going to be the net race leader. As onto the loud pedal they go, careful of the white line, and yeah, change of position between the two then. There was about a 1 second gap between the two of them before the pit stops. Cone to cone, Erdelay was about 1.5 seconds quicker compared to Davidson.
Interesting stuff there, and it just shows you just how much fuel saving opportunity there is. As usual, Mr. Frugal, James Boomey, carries on with 15 minutes left on the clock. Now, will he put 1 lap extra on or 2? Because it wouldn't be the first time we've seen him go more than yep, he's going to go an extra lap again. So this is what James Boomey is so good at in these feature races, just being able to squeeze more out of the fuel tank than anybody else.
Which means that when it comes to the stop and asking his pal to fill her up, fella, it means that it will just take that little bit less fuel to go in before he's back out of the pit stop. So we've got an intriguing one here, as we've got another miniature pit party of Maya, Watson and Wolfson. Now Watson not taking tyres.
Neither's Anders Meyer in the Mustang.
Wolfson did though, as he pulls away.
That is, I have to say, I'm really surprised about that, with Meyer in the Mustang not taking any tyres at all. So maybe it's kinder on its tyres than we give it credit for.
Wolfson has come out ahead of Watson out of the pit box, so that's a change of position in that little fight. Where's Ethan Critchley in all this? Because they were racing against Ethan. They come out of the pit road and Maya is alongside and gets squeezed by Ethan Critchley. And Michael Gray has jumped into the Pro-Am lead here, because Gray has jumped Adam Watson in the pit stop cycle.
Oh, old move then in the pit stops. Very interesting. Boumé still cracking on. Jack Osborne and Nathan Moore are yet to pit as well, so they've stretched their stints to 20 laps to this point. Boumé is now in from the lead of the race, so let's see, has Boumé saved enough to get him back into contention for this race win? Can he get past Gabriel Erdelai in the pit stop? Here he comes then into the pits. His box will be right at the end. Now, will he take tyres or not?
Let's see. Car goes up on the jack, so I think that's the correct move. Comes down. That's possibly just one. That's one.
Yeah. So the WSR Esports have taken two. Boumé with just the one. I think he's going to come out in time here, you know. Here are the WSR Esports Porsches. Oh, it's an agonising drag along the pit lane. This is going to be very tight. This is going to be tight. Race on pit road. Boumé, where is he? Oh, this is a horrible pit lane end.
This is
exit.
The limit. And they're going to come out together, but it's going to be WSR right there.
No,
They've got the pace. They've got the pace and the warm tyres, remember. James Boumé's got to survive this early stage now with cold tyres on his car.
Well, he's only got one cold, though. Only one cold. And that could be key. That could be key. If he'd had two cold, that might have been a different story. But James Boumé, what a strategic... Well, it's strategy, but you have to be able to pull that off. He has got Scott Dixon levels, Dario Franchitti levels of fuel saving. I mean, just the master at it in this championship of being able to make the car go longer on a tank of fuel. It is such a key skill in endurance racing.
Erdelai got close then into turn number 10, but that's now compromised his exit out of that corner. But James Boumé, your race leader after the pit stop cycle, and get this, Peter, 1.7 seconds quicker than Erdelai cone to cone in the pit lane. That's how he's done it.
Yeah, that's and that must be because of being able to fuel save. And just do it so much better than everyone else. I mean, that's just Boumé's meal ticket, really. It seems that the WSR Esports Porsches have got an edge on pace overall, it would appear, so far. Oh, no way. Oh,
that's not a slowdown penalty either, I can tell you.
No, they might try and tell you it is, but no, that's not.
I can tell you, I've got the screen in front of me. That was not a slowdown penalty.
That was a come on by, Alex.
Well, it is James Boumé, 4th place in the Pro Championship, 62 points back from Alex Davidson. It's Davidson who wants to try and get one over James Boumé and to extend that championship lead at the front of Pro after his nightmare last time out at Suzuka, after nearly did throw away a race win at Zandvoort by risking the slick tyres in the ever decreasing grip conditions of that mixed conditions race. But this one's not over yet. There's 10 minutes left. We'll quickly just run through a couple of things for you. So it's Boumé, Davidson and Erdelai. They're the front three here at the very front of the field. Michael Gray is your top Pro-Am driver, just sat behind Anders Meyer in 10th place. Adam Watson is in 12th overall. He's 2nd in Pro-Am. and Jamie Rushworth is a ton of seconds behind in third place in Pro-Am. He's in 13th. Your best Am, we've barely mentioned Am all race. It's Andrew Fairley who is ahead of Jonathan Walker. So there's Fairley then, and he's doing well considering he is up, what, how many places? He's up 4 places from where he started, is Fairley. And then, as I say, Jonathan Walker and then Ben Altria, third place in Am, is 22nd overall.
Well, 9 minutes to go then, and the pit stops have just changed everything. You know, you look at Adam Watson, he was looking good in Pro-Am, that switched around, and overall it was Davison and Erdely looking good, and then that switched around with Bume pulling just a fuel-saving masterclass to be able to jump by. Yeah, really interesting stuff, fantastic.
As we go through 8 3/4 minutes remaining here, and it's Alex Davidson still putting the pressure on James Bume. The question is now, though, can he get past James Bume, or does he try a little bit, see if he can get past, and if he doesn't, get himself in the bank second place points?
Well, it's I mean, that's when you've got that advantage. You know, Bume is 62 back on Davidson, so following home is not a disaster, and you've got to play the long game here. There's no point chucking it off the road or getting in a silly accident. It's about being clever to win World GT Championships.
Oh, very wide goes Alex Davidson through the final corner, and that does pick him up a slow down penalty.
Oh.
And here comes Erdely through. Well, there you go. If you go too wide through that final corner, it does give you a slow down penalty. But James Bume must have looked in his rearview mirror and gone, "Oh, thanks, mate."
Well, yes, I think so. And that gives him a really nice bit of a cushion now. And crucially, the car behind James Bume does not have a slipstream, whereas they did before that. Alex Davidson was close enough to get a slipstream. So this is, now James Bume's race to lose, and you know, he must have been so frustrated seeing Erdely nip past him going into the first corner and taking second position away. But to be able to jump from third up to first with just pure driving ability and efficiency is just fantastic to watch. I mean, it's all very well and good being able to wrap out fast lap times, but to be able to do fast lap times and do it while using less fuel, that is such an attribute.
It certainly is. And Bume, he's taken over the mantle, hasn't he, from Ross McFarlane of being the most frugal driver on the grid, hasn't he? Because Ross McFarlane, we used to say, was the king of the endurance and longer races here in the World GT Championship. But right now, I think James Bume, in terms of fuel saving and strategy, has really taken over that mantle now.
So just over 6 minutes to go then, and we'll see who comes out on top. So Alex Davison does have the fastest lap of the race, but that little mistake there, yeah, pretty costly to his teammate. Now I wonder if Erdely now will back off and let him go. I don't think so now, to be honest. I think that was more you go and have a crack at James Bume, and then we might both have a chance. I don't think it was necessarily, oh, we need to give you the championship point. I think it's maybe thinking, right, Alex has maybe got just the edge on pace, possibly. Could be wrong.
One thing that we can say is that they have got some lap traffic between them now, between the leader and second place. So that's Ben Bennyworth who's between them. Now Ben, to be fair, will move over, get out their way, and allow the leaders by, and there you go. You see it right there and then. Nicely out the way. You don't want to be slowing down that much if you're a back marker, because you are still involved in your own race, but you do want to help facilitate the leaders coming through.
Yes, you do, and you want to, be predictable, etc. So, yeah, that is very important, to be kind of predictable and not hold up the leader too much. So Bume looking good, for a win here, and that really has helped his championship chances, really with confidence as well. And he'll just be hoping for a very small reverse grid for the next race.
Jesse Wilkins, I can tell you, has had an incident out there. There was a yellow flag, the car was at a standstill, but it's got back moving again. I have that on my little track map that I have here. As we look back then to Michael Gray behind Anders Meyer, who has continued to fall back in this race. But Michael Gray is now finding out what Adam Watson was finding out just before the pit stops, which is how difficult it is to overtake that Ford Mustang.
It is. It's a big car, and it's got most importantly, it's got the straight line speed to pull away, and that makes it very difficult to set a move up for the driver behind. So yeah, the Mustangs, it's proven to be a decent enough package. And of course, the Norwegian squad, they've had success with alternative front engine cars in the past, of course, with the BMW.
Yeah, do you know what, to be fair, like I was saying a little bit earlier, they seem to have got a handle of this car now, because at Suzuka last week, okay, Anders Meyer did have an accident, but was able to get the fast repair and still get a really good result out of last week. They seem to have turned a corner with this and maybe found a setting or two that suits them with the car. I can tell you we've had 2 black flags this lap, and people having to serve a drive-through penalty on this lap. So Baker's Zelenka is one of those. I didn't quite catch who the other one was, but with less than 3 minutes remaining, we're looking back from the back of this huge Ford Mustang. It always makes me think, in terms of the size difference of, think of sort of size difference of other vehicles. Always make me think of the Bentley Continental when that was racing in GT3, but also on the touring car front, the Volvo 850 Estate in 1994.
Yeah, 2 iconic cars, I would say. I mean, I think it's such a shame we barely see Bentley GT3s out anymore. Such a pity that program came to an end. And it was a proper works program too. Christian Loriot, who's a very well regarded rally car designer, who worked at ProDrive on the Subarus, and then went to M Sport and created various iterations of the Focus World Rally car, and then of course while at M Sport designed the Bentley GT3 car. And to get a GT3 car out of that base, I mean, it was an amazing car. It's such a pity that it never got the rules didn't allow it to race at Le Mans at the time, because for me that's a brand that should be at Le Mans, Ben.
Well, you think back, what was it? The prototype, wasn't it, that Bentley ran back in
2002, 2003. Yeah.
That I knew it was the early 2000s, and I bow down to your greater knowledge of the great race.
The Speed 8,
yes.
Speed 8 it was called. Yeah, it was particularly the second generation car. The aerodynamics was done by, there was work done on it by the same guy who did the RS Spider second generation car.
There we go. As we look now, we're on the last lap of the race. Barney has been waving the white flag. It's not in surrender, it's to notify this is the last lap of the race. And James Boumé now with a 2-second lead over Gabriel Erdelite. This will be a good result for Gabriel, it must be said still. Gain of 1 position from where he started and missed last round at Suzuka. But Boumé, he's had a real turn of form. It's not the best start to the season that he's had, but he's really turned his form around and got his fortunes a bit better in his favour as we come through towards turn 14 for the final time in this round number 9, meeting 6 of the World GT Championship. We've got another race coming up for you shortly, folks, so stick around for that one. But out of the final corner, James Boumé for Altitude Esports by 3M takes race win here in round number 9.
What a performance from James Boumé. Knew he had to fuel save hard, he managed it, got those couple of extra laps and pushed on and really made it count. And Michael Gray, likewise, great bit of pit strategy, great bit of driving. He comes home in Pro-Am.
Pro-Am winner for Full Tilt Motorsport, Michael Gray, championship leader, will be delighted with that. And looking a bit further down the order, Andrew Fairley in 18th place, your top AM driver, is ahead of Jonathan Walker, but only by a second or so. There's Jonathan behind, but Andrew Fairley, Tech Sport Academy by AMS, takes an AM win here today, an 18th overall. Great result for Andrew, who's had a very testing time at the start of this season, I think it's safe to say.
Yes, it has been. It has been, but what a way to bounce back. What a way to do that. Fantastic stuff. And well, let's see what this spinny wheel is going to throw up for us. Quite fancy a full reverse. I quite fancy a bit of that.
Well, as the last couple of cars are coming across the line, Mads Kelsen is going to be the last one across the line for us here today. But yeah, you called it, Peter. We do need to see the spin of the wheel to see who will get pole position for race number 2 of this evening, for round number 10. If it's on that cross, we get no reverse grid, but it goes past that cross and oh my goodness, wow, what a result for the driver who's just finished in 18th, taking an AM win. He'll be finding himself, Andrew Fairley, on pole position for the second race of this evening. So let's take you through your provisional race results here then for round number 9 of the World GT Championship. And it is then James Boumé who takes the win by 2.2 seconds over Gabriel Erdelai and his teammate Alex Davidson in 3rd place after starting on pole position. Ross McFarlane then makes it WSR Esports Book Kicker trifecta then in 4th place, but a bit off the pace of the few leaders. Dennis Grabowski in 5th ahead of Michael Evdoka, with Jack Sedgwick, Ethan Critchley and Anders Meyer in the top 9. 10th place is your top Pro-Am driver for Full Tilt Motorsport, Michael Gray. 11th for Victor Wolfson, and then it's Adam Watson, the next one in Pro-Am. 2nd place in Pro-Am, 12th overall, ahead of Jamie Rushworth by just under 9 seconds between those two. 14th place for Will Guthrie, ahead of Nathan Moore, Jack Osborne, Leander Engelveld in 17th. And then it's 2 of your AM drivers, of Andrew Fairley for Tech Sport Academy by AMS in that Porsche, taking an AM win and also finding himself on pole position for the second race of the evening. Jonathan Walker, 19th, 2nd place in AM, ahead of Ben Hackerson. Ben Altria then takes 3rd place in AM, 21st overall, ahead of Jake Blackall, Paul Webster after his drive-through penalty. He finishes 23rd. And Gregory, Tom Weston, Chris Chatterton, Jesse Payne Wilkins, Phil Samways, Bacon Zelenka and Simon Andre Livingston rounds out the top 30. And then the last few drivers, Nick Kirstens and Mads Kelsen finish on the lead lap. Ben Pennyworth, the only driver to actually get lapped out there on track, Quatermass Motorsport in 33rd. Then drivers who did not finish, Andy Jones, a big one in Josh Thompson, Richard Simner and Taylor Lane round out the 37 cars. So that is meeting 6 round number 9 done. We've got another race to come though, and well, what a turn up for the books. You finish 18th, you get an AM win, and your prize for that, pole position for the second race.
I said, a buy one, you get one free. What a result. Yeah, well deserved. It's funny, it's like London buses, isn't it? And other associated cliches. Fantastic stuff for Andrew Fairley to get that AM win, but also to get a front row grid position. It's fantastic. We have seen it in the past where AM drivers can really make the most of it and score some huge points for their championship because it's all based on the overall. However, we've seen other AM drivers that get quite overwhelmed by their surroundings and it all goes to pot. So let's hope it's the former.
Andrew Fairley just coming into the YouTube chat. What's the reverse? You're on pole, Andrew. 18th was the reverse grid. So there we go. He's getting to know the results then of that on our YouTube chat. But yeah, certainly going to be an interesting one. It's one of the bigger reverse grids of the season, because we've seen quite a few of the lower numbers throughout the season so far, Peter. So it's going to be a bit more tricky for Boumet, McFarlane, Davidson and Erdely to work their way through.
It is, and it's going to be fascinating to see what they do in terms of their strategy, whether they run a similar strategy to running the fuel tank right out and then pitting like they did in race 1, or whether they hit traffic and they have to pit a little bit earlier and throw a little bit more of an alternative strategy in there. I guess we'll only really find that out, or they'll only find that out once we get into the meat of the race. But they've got to be careful to avoid what happened with Josh Thompson. Of course, he was coming from further back, of course. But the point is valid. It's very, very busy in these sort of tight natchery sections at the beginning of the lap and towards the end of the lap. You've got to be careful through those bits.
Yeah, you certainly do. And we did see an accident on lap 1. As you say there, Peter, Josh Thompson was caught up in all of that as well. So it does show how tricky it is for some of the drivers to work their way through here. We saw some really good moves in that race, and some I thought were maybe in places that I weren't expecting to overtakes to happen. Mainly the one I'm thinking of is Ethan Critchley into turn 10.
That's classic Ethan Critchley, isn't it? To be able to pull off some of those moves. Like you said, it was a karting move, and karting you have to be quite creative on where you make your passes. So yeah, it was great to watch. Classic Ethan. He came home in 8th position in the end, and finishing ahead of that big bunch he was fighting.
Yeah, certainly was. Well, we are going to step aside just for a few minutes whilst we get ready for race number 2 of the evening. But stick around. It's a top 18 reverse. Andrew Fairley's on the front row of the grid in pole position. We'll be right back after these.
Them as well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Welcome back to coverage here of meeting 6 of the season, and it's round number 10 of the World GT Championship. Season 16! Would you believe it? 16 seasons that this championship has run for, and the drivers have been in a much safer place since the end of season 5, because I stopped racing in this series back then. But it's Paul Smith and Peter Mackay here on commentary for you all here today. And Peter, we saw an intriguing race number 1. I think we might be seeing a few more overtakes in race number 2 though.
Oh, quite possibly. Yes, quite possibly. Particularly with the reverse grid, I do believe, yes, that it will be fairly frantic out there, particularly in those opening laps. So we're going to see a lot of overtaking, but that's why we have the reverse grid. It makes it a lot of fun. Whoop! Speaking of fun, what is it they say? Nothing good ever happens in warm up. Luckily, you can hit the reset button here in sim racing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Andrew Fairley. He's had a tumultuous season so far. He's been involved in multiple incidents throughout the season, not all of his own doing, I must say. He can't afford to get in his own head, can he, for the start of this race? He just needs to get his head down and focus forward at the start of this one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Just get down to business and try and get into a rhythm early on, and just stay out of trouble really in those first 5 to 10 minutes or so, and just trust what your pace is and stick to it. Don't try and overstretch yourself, and just try and settle into that. That's the most important thing.
I wish I'd have had you as a race engineer when I was doing touring car racing with the reverse grid, but there you go. We are going to be missing a couple of drivers. Josh Thompson. Josh Thompson is in the session here. We are down to 35 in the session, one of which, unfortunately, is Ethan Critchley, because it's not all fun and games and a glamorous lifestyle of being an international karter. You've got to do the night shift every once in a while, and that's what Ethan's doing. So all the best, Ethan. But it does mean that it gives somebody else an opportunity of getting a good result there.
It does, yeah. Well, that was a good job before nipping off onto the night shift. That's a good way to start the night, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good way to get up and ready to go for a night's work. So yeah, hope he's packed the loo roll just in case. Don't ask.
In case he's got the sniffles.
In case he's got the sniffles, yes.
I will say that he'll be there going round to all of his work colleagues going, look at this clip, look at this overtake I made.
They'll be
so
interested as well.
I'll tell you what, from my experience of my workplace, is, so what did you do this weekend? I went off to the garden centre to do that. What did you do, Paul? Well, I commentated on some sim racing. And the glazed look that I get from people at work when I say that. I've
had it before where you go, what were you doing at the weekend? I was working on commentating Nürburgring 24 Hour. Blank, stare silence. So I think it's maybe just a racing thing.
They just don't know the fun.
They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't understand us.
No. It is a wonderful world, this motorsport. I would say all sport is wonderful for the drama and the excitement you get, but motorsport in particular, because there's so many variables. You just don't know exactly what you're going to see. What you are going to see, though, I can tell you for sure, is 45 minutes of racing coming up in just a few moments' time. So we'll go through the grid in about 15 seconds or so, and then we'll get ready for the next race of this season. And we're coming up to the halfway point of the season as well, so it'll be important to see who can get themselves into a good position in the championship coming into the second half of the season. So then, as we get ourselves ready for the start of this race, let's take you through the starting grid of round number 10. And as we say, the top am from the first race of the evening, Andrew Fairley, Tech Sport Academy by AMS. He'll be leading off the pack in his Porsche. Alongside him is Lander Engelvelt. Then it is Jack Osborne and Nathan Moore on row number 2, with Will Guthrie and Jamie Rushworth on the third row of the grid. Row number 4, continuing their battle from the previous race, Adam Watson and Victor Wolfson, with Michael Gray and Anders Meyer on row number 5. They'll be continuing their fight throughout this race. Jack Sedgwick and Michael Evdoka, they'll be hoping for a better race than race 1. They're starting on run number 6. 7th row of the grid, Dennis Grabowski and Ross McFarlane. Alex Davidson and Gabriel Erdelai on row number 8. And then the 9th row of the grid is James Boumé, your winner from the last race. Alongside him is the second placed AM driver of Jonathan Walker. Of course, Walker moved up a position after Ethan Critchley didn't take the start of this race. So everybody moving up at least one place from where they finished in the first race. Ben Hackson and Altria then on row number 10. Row 11 for Jake Blackall and Paul Webster. It's Ben Gregory and Tom Weston on row number 12. The 13th row of the grid for Chris Chatterton in that Prestander Nomad Ferrari. Alongside them is Jesse Payne Wilkins in that full tilt competition car. Row number 14 then for the Phil Samways and Bacon Zelenka combination, with Simon Andre Livingston and Nick Kirstens sharing row number 15. It's the 16th row of the grid for Mads Kelson and Ben Bennyworth, with Andy Jones and Josh Thompson on row number 17, and all on his own on row number 18, Richard Simner. As I say, we are down 2 drivers from the previous race, so we'll be looking forward to seeing how the 35 drivers will attack this race. 17th place, I think James Boumé will be happy to actually be up 1 place because of Ethan Critchley not taking the start.
And that's certainly one driver that's always going to give you aggro and passing as well. It's never easy getting past Ethan, so that's I think there'll be quite a few drivers relieved that he's off on the night shift.
But what are the keys here for this one? After we've seen what happened in race number 1, we didn't really see the early pit stoppers make too much of a difference, but the fuel saving effort from James Boumé was just on another level in that last race.
It was, yeah, it was hugely impressive. Yeah, he didn't, before that, didn't necessarily have the pace to win, but it just shows you there's more to it than that. Yeah,
1 lap pace and things like that is one part of being a quick racing driver, being able to work the strategy, being able to work this, as I can see there's a Ferrari flashing its headlights a lot. It's Jack Osborne. Maybe signalling intentions in that Atomic Esports car on Andrew Fairley. Now, Andrew, as I say, has been involved in quite a few incidents in this season. He'll be hoping to get a good launch off of this one. I think if you can get to at least turn 10, still in the lead, the field spreads out a little bit by that point, and he should be a little bit more calm, not seeing a swarming pack behind him. But he's the one in charge of the field right now. Through the final corner they go, and Andrew Fairley gets on the power, and across the line it's green flag racing here for round number 10 of meeting 6. Into turn number 1 we go. That's usually one of the pinch points into 2. Oh, Osborne nearly getting into the back of Engelvelt, and there's a full tilt car off. Jamie Rushworth caught up in that. It's Will Guthrie who is off. We stay green flag racing. We're going 3 wide into the tight right-hander, and Fairley's lost the lead. Andrew Fairley's lost the lead. Leander Engelvelt has taken the lead then as they go down this back straight towards turn number 8, and Fairley is looking to the inside, more in defence I feel than attack, but Jack Osborne makes contact. Oh, it's a bit more aggressive this race now, and Nathan Moore hard charging, Peter. He's working his way forward.
Yeah, he's making full advantage of this of this reverse grid. That's what you got to do. Oh, as Jack Osborne tucks up the inside, and that almost Lark McLaren-esque Ferrari. It's very, very cool paint scheme there, and he's leading in. He's going into second now as they come through this really fast section of right-handers.
Fairley just needs to keep his head and not get too pressured. He's got Adam Watson behind him, Nathan Moore alongside. Angleveld went very deep into turn 10, it must be said. But as we come through to the final turn, Watson behind Fairley, who's behind Moore and Jack Osborne. Wide they go through the last corner across the line to start the second lap, and Adam Watson has a slow down penalty. I thought he went too wide, and that's what happens.
Not the time to get a slow down penalty, as Jack Sedgwick has moved up the places. He's up into 6th place already in that NX Ferrari running the number 1 board. But oh, big dive up the inside from Michael Gray, and Sedgwick says, I'm going to give you a wide berth, try and get on the power that little bit earlier. Oh, squeezes through just in time. Meanwhile, Dennis Grabowski making moves forward for Altitude Esports.
Yeah, that was, you were right to take quite the inhale there, Peter, of breath. Adam Watson now under pressure from Ross McFarlane as they go through turn number 9 into turn 10. They're still side by side, and onto the brakes. There's Grabowski down the inside of Gray. Can he make that move stick? And the answer is maybe. We'll find out down the back stretch here. If Grabowski can stay to the inside, he's got the advantageous line. Nathan Moore and Victor Wolfson. Victor Wolfson's moved ahead of Andrew Fairley, should I say, just in front of them. There goes Grabowski ahead, and Adam Watson's going to try and follow down the inside. He's getting help from behind from Ross McFarlane. McFarlane flashes the headlights. I don't know why you're doing that, Sunshine. You were the one who went to the back of Watson.
Yeah, and pick a fight with Adam Watson at your peril. That is the last thing you want to do, because he will back down from absolutely nobody.
So then, as we carry on, Victor Wolfson's got the fastest lap of the race in these early stages, and we've got more changes of position further down. Ben Hackerson's lost a position. Anders Meyer we see there with Alex Davidson. They've switched position. James Boumet, well, he's moved up 4 places now. He's moving up ahead of that as slow down for Alex Davidson. So goes bad to worse for Alex Davidson as Boumet to the inside of Anders Meyer. Well, we said it was going to be a bit more overtaking, Peter. We're getting proved right. There's a spinner in the background. It's Phil Samways.
Oh dear. No, a little bit wide there from Anders Meyer in the Mustang, and then tucking up the inside goes Boumet then. Boumet making moves forward from 18th on the grid. He's going to move up to 12th here. Is he still side by side with Meyer? Meyer goes a little bit wider, try to swoop round, but then through goes Boumet. Can he seal the deal? Yes, he can. Yeah, so James Boumet looking really good early on, and he's making good positions.
V10 wins over V8, and then he's got a couple of flat sixes behind him now as Anders Meyer that needs to look out for. But yeah, Boumet on a charge then in the early going, up 5 places there. Gabriel Erdelite also up 5 places.
Can't remember which of the many Fast and the Furious films it was, one of the franchise, where the guy says it's like muscle bits import every time. I think it was the 4th one.
I've not watched a single one of them.
Have you not? You should watch the first one, actually. It really is, you can see its impact on car culture, and then it just all got a bit silly after, probably it all got a bit silly from the 4th one on, I would say.
Oh, Josh Thompson banging door panels there with one of the KRD cars. I believe that's going to be Jake Blackhall. As onto the brakes they go. And around goes the KRD car. Bang, and it is Blackhall. Oh dear, that's suboptimal, and that car is very broken. It's got mechanical meatball warning flag. If he can limp that car back to pit road, he can get a fast repair, but it's too early to try and make that his pit stop as well.
Oh dear, and I think it's going to be a check back to the pits, if not a complete stop there, and done for the night by the looks of things. What a shame early on. Fastest lap of the race, Denis Grabowski up in 7th place in the altitude Audi. Very interesting.
Oh, we've got an accident further down as well.
Oh.
As I think that's Richard Simner recovering is one of those cars, and Jesse Payne Wilkins was involved as well in all of that. So issues further down, but as we carry on in this one, here's a replay. Thank you very much to our producer Connery Maddock, and it's bang, just it all checks up there, and bang, bang, bang. Thank you very much, and around they go.
So let's take a look then. What happened to William Guthrie? Oh, he gets absolutely pancaked there. Oh,
he then gets a nerf from the car on the inside, and Jamie Rushworth finishes him off then. Phil Samways, this was early in the race. This was on lap 1 as well. Just the slightest of touches, and around he goes. There at turn number 8. Jesse Payne Wilkins out of the race. This is what we saw happen then. So it all checks up there, bang, and then another bang, concertina effect. 3 into 1 space, just does not go. No, it doesn't. That's a shame, and we always see it's always a little bit more fractious in these reverse grid races. So, Leander Angeveld making the most of this so far. The lead, Victor Wilson. You mentioned him a bit in race 1 there, Paul. He's back in Speedy Victor this time. He's got out the right side of the bed. That's if he went to bed in the sort of 10 minutes in between races. But you know, you get the point. I'll tell you who's doing a good job though, as he's just under attack from Jack Sedgwick. Andrew Fairley. It's very easy to get absolutely swamped when you're not used to being at the front. I know what it's like to start from a reverse grid pole position when you are not on that pace, and it is very easy to get swamped. I think he's doing a very, very good, solid job at the moment in 7th place. Yeah, he's just been overtaken by Sedgwick and Grabowski, but those two are former World Championship licence holders, so you're going up against some of the best sim racers right there.
Yeah, it's pretty daunting, isn't it? And handling that mental challenge is really, really difficult. Because if you know the person behind you is much, much quicker, it's trying to know where to position that, because it's it's so easy to get tangled up and get it and cost yourself more time than you ultimately need to. Because if they are quicker, they're going to go by, obviously. So you kind of want to just minimise the time loss as best as you possibly can.
Oh, there's a flash of the headlights from Fairley, and there was an Adam Watson involved. I'm thinking 2 plus 2 equals 275 perhaps in that one. Ross McFarlane gave it a flash of the headlights as well to Fairley in all of that. So Ross has been a bit keen to get onto the flash of the headlights recently, I have noticed. Is that maybe he's just got a little bit of frustration of not being at the absolute front? And again, flash the headlights. Why are you flashing the headlights? He's legitimately fighting you for position.
It's an interesting one. It's a very interesting one. But that's the case in point. Fairley doesn't appear to respect any ego. I think.
But why should I?
Whoa, no, I totally agree with you. I think if you're a championship leader, or if you're wearing the number 1 plate on the car and you come up behind somebody, they're definitely going to give you. They're going to probably more likely to jump out your way. Not always, but they're more likely to. Whereas if you're not, and it's someone who's only just gone at the championship, as Nathan Moore goes off, then you're more likely to come up against a more stern defence.
It's just unnecessary, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Here's what happened to Nathan Moore. So this is a look to the inside, is it? Up into the back. Jack Sedgwick had to take avoiding action, and that actually allowed Dennis Grabowski to get the move done on Jack Sedgwick. Meanwhile, Chris Chatterton further down the field in his Ferrari. Oh my goodness, I've never seen that happen before.
Well, neither have I. Very odd. Very, very odd. Mads Kelsen, what's happened to him? Up the inside he goes. Whoops.
Not the first person to do that at this meeting, is it, Peter?
No.
To have that sort of incident.
No, or at that corner at Quercia. It's I tell you what, I'll never forget watching on the bankings there, watching Valentino Rossi come up the inside, just leaning on the front end of his Yamaha, going up the inside of Marc Marquez and going on to win the race. It's a good opportunity. It's a big braking zone, as Victor Wilson is demonstrating beautifully there.
And taking the race lead is Victor in that Bayos Sim Sport car. Distinct livery on that car. It stands out, that is for sure. And I actually think it suits that Ferrari as well, in my opinion. As now, down the backstretch, Leander Engelveld will be looking in his mirrors and thinking, I still want the Pro-Am win, I need to keep Jack Osborne behind. But when you've got Dennis Grabowski and Jack Sedgwick now sniffing around Jack Osborne's gearbox, that will be keeping him busy and give, if Engelveld's smart about it, we'll be working together with Wolfson to try and pull away from those cars behind.
Where does Jack Sedgwick figure in all this? Grabowski nearly gets into the back of Jack Osborne. This is going to be intriguing. Where can Grabowski or Sedgwick get a win here and get their respective championship campaigns really underway? Because they're kind of sort of stuck in neutral a little bit at the moment.
I mean, Sedgwick right now, after race 1 result, will be wanting a good score here as there goes Grabowski down the inside of Osborne. Osborne gets checked up by Grabowski, and that allows Sedgwick to go through in all of that. Sedgwick came into this meeting second place in the pro standings, so he needs another good result here after finishing a little bit down the order in the top 10 in race number 1. And he'll be wanting to get some big points while Alex Davidson is down in 13th.
Yeah, Alex Davidson has just sort of stalled a little, hasn't he? Because he started in 16th, so he's not actually made that many positions. He's only made 3 positions. So that's not really what Alex Davidson would be wanting at all from this second race. But the championship, the competition is fierce.
As we go through, down the inside, and that's position then. Ross McFarlane behind Jack Osborne, now ahead of Michael Gray. As James Boumé has made a move on Andrew Fairley, but Fairley's fighting back in the background of shot there. So Andrew, as we said a little bit earlier with Ross McFarlane, is respecter of no egos, and quite rightly, he's wanting to get points for his AM championship.
Yeah, he is. He is, yeah. Andrew Fairley, the better overall position he gets, the more points he has. That might sound obvious, but in other championships, you just based on your class position alone. Here, not so. You score only on your overall position. So if you win the race overall as an AM, you hit the jackpot, basically.
Ben Gregory heads onto pit road. He had a mechanical meatball warning flag. Jake Blackall has retired from this race. And we won't see him out in the rest of this one. Ben Altria as well has a mechanical meatball warning flag. As I'm sure I just saw some tyre smoke then, but maybe that was a bit more on my end. Down the inside, Ross McFarlane on Jack Osborne. That's going to be a change of position. Up to 6th now for Ross, the former 4-time champion. Although Jack Osborne in that Ferrari, turbo kicks in. And that Ferrari is going down that back section flat out.
It is. McFarlane just placing that Porsche exactly where it needs to. and gets the position, and here comes Erdely then. He stuffs it up the inside, and Osborne not quite so friendly there and holding it firm as they come through the penultimate corner now. It's two left-handers towards the end, and Osborne just jinks and allows Erdely the opportunity to slip through.
And now Osborne's looking behind because Michael Gray, the top Pro-Am from the last race, is looking to make a place here and to get up into second place third place in Pro-Am. Leander Andelveld has a slow down penalty that allows Grabowski and Cedric pass into second and third place, with Adam Watson behind. Jack Osborne losing out to Michael Gray. Yes, he does. Michael Gray gets ahead of Osborne. There's a little bit of a check-up, and now James Boumé behind Osborne, and look at the defensive move there from Osborne. He doesn't want to make life easy for Boumé.
No, he doesn't, does he? Oh my word, this is great stuff. Great stuff here.
And look who's behind Boumé here. Davidson has made a recovery then after his opening to the race, and they're almost going to go 3 wide into 10, Peter. Boumé will not like seeing Alex Davidson literally pushing him. No,
not really. That won't be the most pleasant experience, that's for sure, but Davidson right on the back. Oh, as they come through into this final section, 2 quick rights, and then another right, and then a really slow right here where you're just all the time on the brake, turning in, torturing the tyre, trying to keep the wheel as straight as you possibly can, but you have to turn at some point, and you're just trying not to overcook the tyre. Oh, in goes Davidson.
Yeah. Now, I did see Michael Avdoka pit last lap, along with Jamie Rushworth as well. So they've pitted early. They're trying to get out of traffic, aren't they, Peter? They're trying to do the alternate strategy.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. There's sometimes there's nothing else for it. If you feel you're getting held up, you've just got to try and get out of that busyness and get into some clean air and lay some lap times down. Big move here from Andrew Fairley.
No. That's Fairley and Osborne.
That's Chuck, and Johnny Walker comes through, marching on through, and he'll cheers to that.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that. Well, Johnny Walker, here's another look at this one then. It's a very, very tight turn, and it's 2 lines converging into one there, isn't it, Peter?
It is, yeah, it is. Fairly kind of got the move done and then just ran a little bit wide, just maybe couldn't quite get the car slowed down enough. And they came together, and it's a great opportunity for Andrew Fairley, chucked it away.
Andrew Watson has got ahead of Leander Angelveld, we see there on screen. So change of Pro-Am lead, Adam Watson getting ahead. And look at Angelveld's got McFarlane and Erdely right behind him. Do those two make a pit stop now? Yes, well, at least one of them does. Both of them do, in fact. McFarlane and Erdely onto pit road now. So alternate strategies. Boumé's onto pit road as well. Is he responding to Alex Davidson?
So I think he might well be. Yeah, he might well be. Josh Thompson, where does he figure out in all of this as well? Has he pitted yet? No, he hasn't. So Josh Thompson is one to look out for as well.
McFarlane's got damage on the front of that car.
And hasn't repaired it?
Yeah.
That's a mistake.
Well, here we go. Here's Alex Davidson through the final corner. Boumé again, really quick on pit road. He's caught up to the back of Erdely and McFarlane. Now, do these two help out team leader Alex Davidson? Well, out of the pit road they go. Here's Davidson, and there goes James Boumé. He's got ahead, or stayed ahead, should I say, of Alex Davidson. But crucially, Boumé's pulled out just a little bit of a lead. Not much of one, though, over Davidson.
So, Grabowski, where does he figure in this as well? Heading towards the front of the pack. He's in second at the moment, but he's got Cedric right behind him. Now, where do they factor in? Of course, they've got beautiful clean air ahead of them. or certainly Grabowski does anyway, where they can keep laying down the pace and then see where they pop out at the end of the stint.
Well, that's it, isn't it, with those guys at the front. They're already up there, so they can just afford to stay out and keep running right to the end of their stints, whereas all those others of Bume, of Davidson, McFarlane, Erdely, they were all getting caught up in that reverse grid mire, and they were getting held up perhaps, and that's why they've done the alternate strategy. So McFarlane is the leader of those that have pitted already, ahead of Erdely, with Bume less than a second behind them, it must be said. The top half of the field, though, still yet to owe us a pit stop in all of this. Josh Thompson, currently 10th place, does owe us a pit stop as side-by-side action for Thompson on Johnny Walker, and Johnny Walker thinking, do you know what, Josh lad, you go ahead, on the flash of the headlights from Walker. It seems like a headlight flashing day, Peter.
It does, yes, it does. It's yeah, it seems to be all the rage at the moment, doesn't it? Getting on the headlight flashers, and yeah, Josh has just done it just for good measure there. I don't know is he flashing at us? Are we being flashed by Josh Thompson?
That wouldn't be the first time in my life, but that's a different story entirely. As we got, that's a joke, by the way. As we go through, as we go through here, through the penultimate corner, Thompson stays out there for the time being onto the brakes, and now we'll be looking forward to Nathan Moore. That's going to be a tougher job to catch up to Nathan and to Anders Meyer. So I think this right now, Peter, is just all about getting quick, consistent lap times from Josh.
I think so. Yeah, this is now get off the headlight flasher, stop flashing everyone, and get down to business and get into that pace that Josh Thompson has. You know, he talked about how when it's over, you know, when the track temperatures are high, this Ferrari really doesn't seem to like it at all. He's just got no traction at all. But we don't have necessarily high track temperature today, so yeah, this is the chance for him.
As we see the Mustang of Simon Andre Livingston onto pit road, getting their pit stop done, and here's a move from Davidson on Bume. This is crucial for the championship. Davidson, he's got a nose ahead. Bume's got the inside line though, but Davidson can carry the speed, and he's done it. Fantastic move then from Alex Davidson. He's got his teammates ahead of him, and that's a change of position then. That is a great move from Alex Davidson.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. That's the championship leader at work there. Alex Davidson makes the move and goes past James Bume, and of course no more pit stop heroics to be made. It's a sprint to the flag from here. So that's great stuff for Alex Davidson, and really stamping his authority back on the championship lead.
Yeah, that'll really help him out when it comes to sorting out the points that Bume was able to get in race 1 of the evening. Now, what the difficult part of it all is now, though, is he's got his teammates of McFarlane and Erdely in front. He needs to somehow try and get past them and have them play rear gunner for him.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And Erdely certainly looked prepared to play the team game in race 1. We saw him effectively move over and allow Davidson to go through. So clearly he's prepared to do that when called upon. So I would think, yeah, we'll see pit stops certainly within the next 6 minutes or so. We'll see the drivers at the front heading in to take their stops, and where will they filter in compared to your leading car who has pitted is Ross McFarlane. His cone to cone time's 47 seconds. At the moment he's 39 seconds back, but it's a bit of an odd pit lane entry and exit whether you actually gain time or not.
So Victor Wolfson is roughly about 40 seconds ahead as he comes onto pit road then. and onto the stops, Angleveld and Michael Gray. It's about 40 seconds between Wolfson and Ross McFarlane, and you're talking, as you said, Peter, about 46, 47 seconds cone to cone. But at the end of the pit road, you do cut out turns 1, 2 and join in on the outside of turn 3. So it cuts a little bit of the course, and of course you're cutting the inside of the last corner as well onto pit entry. So you've got that going your advantage as well if you're pitting.
Yeah, I think it's we'll see. It's all to come out in the wash yet, as Victor Wilson leading quite well at the moment by 1.3 seconds. Grabowski and Sedgwick haven't really run him down. He's holding on to this well in that Ferrari, and Ferrari's looking a little bit stronger here with these slightly cooler temperatures than what we've seen in previous races.
Victor Wolfson, I can tell you, average 5-lap pace is at 1:35.761. Grabowski a 35.656. Now I can't give you any times for McFarlane, Erdely, or Boomer because they've not done 5 flying laps yet. But Alex Davidson has 36.033 in the last 5-lap average pace. So it's a little bit slower than the leader.
Well, that's what they're all chasing. At the end of the day, the Paul Smith Silver Salver for best 5-lap average, NFT. Grabowski in.
Yeah, so Grabowski's pitted. Wolfson et al. Have decided they're staying out now, as Grabowski had on the blower a little bit of a word saying there's a little gap that we can get you into. He was about 2 seconds back from your race leader, wasn't he? So we'll see where he feeds out compared to McFarlane, Erdely, etc.
Yeah, and we'll be able to get to our sums then at that point. But the walking wounded Ross McFarlane here has got his teammate Gabriel Erdely right behind him, and I think for Ross, he might have to let Gabriel go and then let Alex Davidson go, because he looks to be really held back with that damage at the front of the car.
And look at that. I mean, Grabowski comes out way in front of McFarlane and Erdely, and so that means that if you're Jack Sedgwick or Victor Wolfson, you should be coming out in front of them after the pit stops, in theory. You still have to hit the pit limiter right. You've still got to not enter or exit the pit lane unsafely. You've got to hit your marks into your pit box as well. Get all of that right, though. They should still come out in the lead as Wolfson pits.
So Wilson goes into the pits, as does Adam Watson. Jack Sedgwick carries on. So has he got more in the tank, so to speak? Quite literally, he does have more in the tank.
Well, you'd hope so, seeing as he stayed out there.
Yes.
I can tell you there's a drive-through penalty. That's Ben Altria for instant point accumulation. As the pit stops are done for Victor Wolfson and Adam Watson, so they're heading out of pit road right now. They should come out ahead, or at least Wolfson should come out ahead of Ross McFarlane, etc. But it's whether he comes out ahead of Dennis Grabowski. Here he comes, and the answer is, only just he does. But he keeps that lead for now. But I do think that is a lot closer than it was before the pit stops.
So, yeah, 15 minutes to go, and see who has got this right in terms of strategy. A lot of different points of coming in and out of the pits. Let's see. Victor Wilson now, your leading driver, who has already pitted.
So we've got 5 drivers who always pit stop: Jack Sedgwick, Anders Meyer, Nathan Moore, Andrew Fairley, and Andy Jones. Those are the 5 that always a pit stop, and right on cue, Jack Sedgwick heads down to pit road. And we'll see how he comes out with Dennis Grabowski. Of course, that was the fight before the pit stops. Anders Meyer, Nathan Moore, they're both heading onto pit road as well. I would imagine we'd see Andrew Fairley. Yep, he's onto pit road as well. And then Andy Jones also onto pit road. So everybody that owes us a pit stop is now onto pit road for their one and only pit stop that's planned, as Jack Sedgwick is already leaving his pit stall down pit road. Oh, this is going to be very tight for him and Grabowski, but I think Grabowski will stay ahead.
Very tight. Very, very tight then. So Sedgwick gets on to the power. Yeah, he's behind them. He's behind them. So Victor Wilson then leads from Grabowski from Sedgwick. So, and then McFarlane right in behind, leading with his two teammates there, 4th, 5th and 6th, and then Boumet's in the mix as well. So, it's game on here at Misano. Just over 30 minutes to go.
As we come out then, 13 minutes remaining. Track temperature 32 degrees, but it's partly cloudy compared to the clear skies that we had earlier on. We're later into the afternoon as well, so the track temperature is reducing throughout this race. That favours the Ferrari more so than the Porsche. It's your leader, Victor Wolfson, by just 0.4 of a second over Dennis Grabowski. Jack Sedgwick is a further 1.8 seconds off of the race leader in 3rd place. Top Pro-Am, Adam Watson in 8th place overall, just 2 places ahead of 2nd place Pro-Am driver of Michael Gray in 10th, and then a further 2 places back is Leander Engelvelt in 12th place overall in Pro-Am. Your Top Am, well, it's Johnny Walker. He's looking to have a good result in his second one, although Andrew Fairley is right there with Johnny in 18th. And then your next Am down is Simon Andre Livingston, I do believe, who is in 22nd. So that's the top 3 of each one on this one. Now, 12 minutes remaining. Matt Fletcher is in the YouTube chat, so team boss to Dennis Grabowski, and he's saying, pick your time. Well, I think the time is now.
Yes, it is. Now or never, as Elvis said. Was that Elvis?
I'm at the clue.
I think it was Elvis who sang It's Now or Never. I always think of Cornettos though when I hear that tune.
You mentioned Cornettos. This weekend, it's the 20th anniversary screenings of Shaun of the Dead in America. They will be screening it here in the UK. And of course, that was the first of the Cornetto trilogy.
Right. Just one Cornetto. Give it to me.
I do like the red one, but I'm also partial to the mint one myself.
Yeah, I the red one, the strawberry one. Just the kind of original chocolate is good too. I do like a Cornetto.
Well, Grabowski will be asking Matt Fletcher for all of the Cornettos if he gets to the lead of this race, but Victor Wolfson will be putting up one heck of a fight here in this one. As we're going through another lap in the books, neither driver this season has won a race. Jack Sedgwick has won a race. He won last week at Suzuka, so he'll be looking for another one in the books. But yeah, these two, they'll want to get a race win in the books here in the first half of the season.
Yeah, very important to get this one in the bag before we go off for a week's break, and just carrying that confidence in and letting the others stew on it before we come back for the next round. Grabowski desperate to get this. Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle there from Wilson in the Ferrari. And if they get involved in any kind of caper at all, Jack Sedgwick, your defending champion, at the back of shot there in the #1 Ferrari, he's going to have a go.
Sedgwick last lap was half a second quicker than these two. He's on a mission right now.
Yeah, and you think he can see them getting close together and thinking this is my opportunity. I've got to get on the case here. I need to go and get involved in that fight.
Wolfson had to back out of that then, going through turn 12 into 13 and then 14. All of this is just allowing Sedgwick to close on up to them, on board with Grabowski. And well, it's 2 Ferraris and an Audi. It's an Audi sandwich, a Ferrari bread. Do you know what, Peter? It's a bugbear of mine and commentators when they name the bread as being the sandwich. It's like, no, it's the filling. That's the sandwich.
If it was Ferrari sandwich, I guess it would be like a really nice like focaccia or ciabatta bread.
With a little bit of olive oil just to be able to sort of
Yeah, just exactly. So, but with the Audi, Ingolstadt, maybe it's like a sausage sandwich.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
Like a nice bratwurst
or German salami maybe.
Yeah. That's quite the combination. Making me hungry now.
Yeah, I'm hungry now too.
As we go through turn 10, heading down this back straight, and these three, they are pulling away from McFarlane, Erdelight and Davidson in all of this. Boumet is not able to keep to the pace of the three.
Oh, here goes Grabowski.
Oh, down the inside. That's not going to work though. Compromised Wolfson. Oh, Grabowski's been pushed wide. He's going to slow down penalty. Grabowski's going to slow down penalty. And here comes Cedric in all of this.
Oh, here comes Cedric. I don't think Grabowski's served it yet if he's got it because he's keeping the power in. He's going to have to serve it eventually. Maybe he hasn't, but yeah, round goes Cedric and now he might have to serve it. He served it. Well, it's only a small one then. But that's a bit tactical, isn't it? Run your rival onto the paint and make them get a slowdown penalty.
Oh, I'm sure Grabowski will have a word or two about that afterwards. It's a little bit naughty, is that, potentially?
If you put yourself right out on the outside like that, don't expect any free kicks.
Well, in all of that, it means that Wolfson gets a little bit of a break. Look at that, just out to the outside. But here's what Grabowski, the experience that he's got, what he does, he's just blending off of the throttle and just serving that slowdown penalty rather than what we've seen with people having to get off the gas really quick, really early. Yeah, he's not alongside. Grabowski can back off the throttle there.
No, definitely not. No, I think that's all fair for Wilson as far as he's concerned. I don't think he's got anything to feel remotely guilty of, even if he would anyway. So game on, and all of a sudden Cedric is right on the back. It's a Ferrari 1-2 here at Misano. So who's going to come out on top then?
Well,
such a boost for Cedric.
Well, that's you make a very good point there. It would be a boost for Cedric. He's defending champion. He's came into this round of the championship in second place in the pro standings. Another win here after getting a win at Suzuka could really be a boon for his championship defence going into the end of the first half of the season. When you consider the very first race of the season, he had a massive hardwire failure, ended up in the gravel trap and in the tyre wall at Portimao.
Well, that's it. That might well be ringing round the mind, possibly. Well, what could go wrong? Maybe. Just over 5 minutes to go. Cedric had a pretty grandstand view there of what went wrong for Grabowski. He won't want to meet the same fate, that's for sure. And Grabowski's not done either, of course. If this battle rages a little between Wilson and Cedric, Grabowski will be right back in there as well. Interestingly, the WSR Esports Porsches haven't really been able to kind of bridge the gap, have they, up to this leading trio?
As Cedric is looking menacing here. He is looking very, very... And the thing is with Cedric, he's so experienced. He knows all of the tricks of the trade. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to set up Victor Wolfson in front. He's one of those thinking drivers, is Jack. He's maybe not got the absolute out-and-out one-lap pace that maybe he had 5-6 years ago, but he's got that experience and he's thinking 3, 4, 5 corners ahead as Adam Watson is onto pit road because he's got a drive-through penalty. He was your Pro-Am leader, was Adam, and he's got a drive-through penalty for instant point accumulation.
That's so frustrating with just 4 minutes to go. And that hands Michael Gray the lead. That's so frustrating.
That would be a double.
That could be, yeah, Sedgwick could.
He's okay.
Oh, he got away with that because he was well out onto track limits. He'll definitely pick up an incident point for that, but no slowdown crucially there for Sedgwick and the Ferrari. Really starting to push now. You can tell with breaking the track limits, you know that the driver is pushing on a bit more, trying to put Wilson under pressure, trying to force him into some kind of mistake.
As I say, thinking 3, 4, 5 corners ahead. And the thing is, if these drivers start tripping over each other and fighting each other really hard, you're going to be inviting those WSR esports drivers into the fight. I think they're a bit too far back, if you ask me. But if these two start knocking bells out of each other, then definitely we will see possibly those WSR cars coming in. Andrew Fairley has got a drive-through penalty for instant point accumulation, so they're starting to come in now thick and fast. Are those drive-through penalties in this second race? Jamie Rushworth now, another one with an instant point accumulation drive-through penalty. Oh, it's all starting to kick off now, Peter, in the final 2.5 minutes even.
That it is, yeah, that it is. And you wonder if these leading cars, who's got incident points left in their pocket and who's really on the edge. Whoa, on the edge, Jack Sedgwick, a massive moment there. Huge oversteer moment on the curb, but just doesn't even lose much time. He's going to have a look up the inside, is he? No. But Wilson left a little bit of the door open there. It's lucky it didn't get kicked off its hinges.
Yeah, it's bang, 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 I'm coming through, sunshine. Not quite this time though. Sedgwick, the little, you could see him having to just make those adjustments to the steering wheel as he got onto the throttle and down the back stretch here. Wolfson has been putting on a really good display of defensive driving, it must be said, especially considering the pressure that he's under. But look at how much more Sedgwick cuts of turn 13 and almost into the back there of Wolfson. This is great stuff between these two.
Yeah, Sedgwick has been running quite a few much tighter lines, almost, yeah, rally car style cutting for over the corner, but not enough to get a slowdown penalty, just really sharpening the corner off as best as he can. But Wolfson is not being rattled, not at all, not a bit of it. He's got the defending champion in this menacing black Ferrari right under his rear wing, and he's not blinking.
McFarlane has lost places to Davidson and Boumé, and McFarlane's dropping down even more, and that's why he was facing the wrong way. This is the last lap of the race, and Ross McFarlane has dropped down to 10th place after being in 4th just a few moments ago.
What happened to him in that 127 Porsche? What? We'll find out for you, and we'll try and get a replay for you after the race, but it's game on at the front here, and Grabowski's thinking, oh, if you two could just get a little bit more spicy, I can get in on that mix as well. But Wolfson is not flinching.
Yeah, Wolfson's doing a great job as down the back straight here he goes. Andrew Fairley, your pole sitter, is the latest one with a drive-through penalty. He's serving that right now. But what is left? The time is going to strike 0. What can Wolfson do here? How defensive can he go? Well, he can make the move into the last corner here on the last lap. Oh, contact between the two of them. That's big. That's caught Sedgwick out. He's on the back foot. That allows Wolfson to pull ahead. And that means that the Bayos Sim Sport driver, Victor Wolfson, is his first win in the championship for round number 10 of the World GT Championship Season 16.
Brilliant stuff there from Victor Wilson, under pressure all the way to the flag, and he very nearly lost it at a big moment there on power, coming into that the penultimate corner, but just held on to it. And to be very fair to Jack Sedgwick, great awareness from him. He could have kept his foot in it and just drilled into the back of him, but he didn't. He managed to back out of it, and they both finished.
Michael Gray takes the Pro-Am victory once again. That's 2 Pro-Am victories for Michael Gray. And Johnny Walker, Am winner, 15th overall. That's a really good result for Jonathan Walker, who came into this week in 2nd place in Am. Andrew Fairley battling with Ben Gregory. Fairley's had to serve a slowdown penalty, a drive-through penalty this race. It all went a bit wrong for the pole sitter. The last few cars that are crossing the line, but my goodness, Peter, that was fantastic to watch all the way through, even before the pit stop cycles.
Oh, yeah, really, really interesting stuff. And yeah, whoa, no, not the last corner, no, Ben Bennyworth. Oh, just enough to push it home from here. Oh dear.
Ben will be thinking, do you know what? I'm so far back they won't have seen that on broadcast. Sorry, Ben. Here's what happened to Ross McFarlane on that last lap then, Peter.
So is he serving a slowdown penalty?
No.
Yes, it looked like he was. So was he just letting them through and then made a bit of a Horlicks of it?
I think that's what's happened. And it's just hooked onto his teammate then, Alex Davidson.
So he was letting his teammate through and nearly took him out.
Yes.
Very un-Ross McFarlane thing to do.
I didn't see a slowdown penalty for Ross McFarlane.
No, and he didn't. He was
on the flags.
No, and there was no. He was nowhere near the track limit there. So yeah, he's just going. It's a bizarre way to let them through. So through they go,
He was
and then
trying to close the door on James Boumé.
Ah, yes, good point. Good point. Yes, trying to have the cake and eat it.
Well, that didn't work for Ross.
No.
And it worked to a degree for Alex Davidson. The problem for Davidson is that Boumé finished 1 place behind. Well, that was an intriguing, exciting and dramatic race, but one that was won by Victor Wolfson, a gain of 7 places in that race for Bayos Simsport Ferrari. What a result for him to get his first win in the championship. Jack Sedgwick finishing 2nd, putting the pressure on for the last 10 minutes or so. It was fantastic to watch. Dennis Grabowski, it's a case of what could have been if he hadn't got that slowdown penalty in 3rd place. Gabriel Erdelai finishing in 4th, a gain of 12 places for Gabriel, ahead of Alex Davidson. James Boumé then in 6th, ahead of Michael Avdoka. Michael Gray for Full Tilt Motorsport, he takes the win in Pro-Am, finishing 8th overall ahead of Anders Meyer. Leander Angeldfeld, who started on the front row of the grid, finishes 10th, 2nd place in Pro-Am. In 11th, it's Josh Thompson, who was on the recovery drive there, ahead of Ross McFarlane, who we saw have his moment on the last lap. Nathan Moore finished 13th, ahead of Paul Webster, who was the 3rd placed Pro-Am driver. And then the best Am driver, Jonathan Walker for Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge, in his Audi finishes 15th overall in that race, ahead of Jack Osborne, Adam Watson, Andy Jones, Richard Simner. Simon Andre Livingston finishes 2nd in Am, 20th overall. 21st then for Jamie Rushworth, ahead of Ben Hackerson and Phil Samways. Ben Gregory gets a podium in Am in 24th for Boosted Motorsports, ahead of Tom Weston and Mads Kelson. Then Chris Chatterton ahead of Will Guthrie, Nick Kirstens and Ben Bennyworth. Last few drivers, Andrew Fairley 31st, ahead of Ben Altria, who was 1 lap down. Drivers who did not finish, Baker Zelenka, Jake Blackall and Jesse Payne Wilkins. Peter, we do have a quick interview, and it's with your race winner from round number 10. It's Victor Wolfson speaking right now with Peter Mackay.
Victor, congratulations on a superb win here at the Misano circuit. Marco Simoncelli, tell us how you're feeling.
有嘅佢。
Victor, have you got a copy with us? Speechless, Paul, I think he is, would be fair to say.
That's one way of putting it. This isn't the first time this has happened this season, Peter, is
No,
it?
it's not. It's we've got some shy drivers, unfortunately. But great performance nonetheless for Victor Wilson. Was under so much pressure there from Jack Sedgwick. Again, you got to give Jack a massive amount of credit because it could have gone really pear-shaped there. Victor got on the power, the rear stepped out, and Jack had the reactions really to not just plough into the back of him.
Yeah, it certainly was great reactions from Jack Sedgwick there. Yeah, we'll come to us then. Well, Peter, two races, two dramatic races, and James Boumé, race winner in the first race, Victor Wilson in race 2 this evening. We've reached that halfway point of the championship. How have you assessed and seen how this championship has been going?
It's a lot more open, I think. I think depending on the circuit and the circumstances, there are drivers who can come to the fore. Alex Davidson has clearly been the standout driver. The results and the points just say that, but he's by no means unbeatable. Far from it. And I think with the new addition of the weather that we could see at various races across the second half of the season, kind of anything can happen. So, and that execution under pressure is going to be very, very important. And there's plenty of drivers who I'm sure will want to forge a chase down of Alex Davidson in the second half.
Well, if we'll look at the schedule for the second half of the season, we get a week off next week, and then we go into Long Beach. Now, Long Beach has only been on the series calendar a couple of times before, and do you know what? Fair play to the drivers in those previous seasons. We haven't seen the mother of all accidents down at the hairpin, but there's plenty of opportunity to do that this season.
Yeah, the probability of the safety car is pretty high, I'd say. You know, you've got 2 pinch points. You've got the hairpin at the end, which is full lock, and then also turn 1, 2. It can just get so jammed up there really, really easily, and then we end up with a safety car. So strategy at Long Beach. You look at the races there in the outdoor world of racing. You look in the old days of the American Le Mans series, and today in IMSA. Often it's not the car with the absolute outright pace who's on pole at Long Beach, actually. It's more who plays the safety cars correctly, who gets the strategy right, and sometimes you just need a little bit of luck to come your way too. So Long Beach is a fascinating one, and we could see big swings in championship points there.
So we've got that. That's going to be another one of our feature rounds, so another 2 45-minute races. We then head to Spa-Francorchamps, the third endurance race of the season, and then Le Mans for one of our special rounds. So you've got a 30-minute sprint race and then a 1 hour long main race. That could really, those 3 rounds of the championship could really narrow down the field as to who's fighting for the championship.
Could do. I'm looking forward to seeing the championship go to Le Mans. We have been promised a Bacon Zelenka pink pig livery for Le Mans as well by Mark Fletcher. He might have forgotten that promise, but he did.
Well, you've kindly reminded him. So that is going to be the next 3 rounds of the championship, starting at Long Beach in 2 weeks' time here on RaceSpotTV. But I'm afraid that is all that we've got time for here today. From myself, Paul Smith, from Peter Mackay on commentary, Connery Maddock has been our producer behind the scenes here today. We will join you in 2 weeks' time at Long Beach. Until then, from everybody here, it's a good evening.